Hi, my name is Ellen Myrick with Publisher Spotlight, and I'm here with Cindy Mitchell. Welcome, Cindy.
Well, hello.
So
Good to see you, Ellen.
Good to see you too. And Kiss the Book. I love Kiss the Book. So when did Kiss the Book start?
So the story of Kiss the Book. To go back a little bit farther, my first year as a librarian, which was 27 years ago, I decided that I need to read my collection.
Sure. Yes.
And one of the first books I picked up had a surprise in it for me. Now, I'm a 7, 8, 9 school.
Right.
Okay, so
South Jordan Middle School
in Utah.
Yeah.
So my kids can read a little down, they can read a little up.
Sure.
And at this point, I hadn't chosen any of the books. So when I read the book and had a surprise, it wasn't graphic or anything like that, but it was like, oh, well, that was a situation I didn't know my kids would encounter.
Yeah.
No, and I do not remember the title of the book either.
Of course not.
And I thought, I'm gonna have to read these, and not only am I gonna have to read these, I'm gonna have to read everything before it comes to me.
Wow.
So I started going to the public library and checking out stacks of books so I could read them. Because I am a speed reader just by nature.
Well, thank goodness.
And practice.
Important skill for you, right?
And so then I got invited to be part of our local school library board.
Oh, nice.
And present the conference. And when I presented a session on fantasy for middle schools and high schools.
Sure.
And afterwards, I had a whole bunch of teachers coming up to me, or a bunch of librarians coming up to me and saying, how do we know what to get? How do we know what to get?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I can start, online was just barely starting at this point in time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I can put the books I like, just in a spreadsheet or something and give you guys access to that if you'd like. And they're like, oh, we would love that so much. And then I found out that people have different size budgets.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And I'm like, well, I need to start being more professional about this whole thing.
Sure.
And so for 4 or 5 years, I just had this spreadsheet online where librarians who asked, I would tell them where to find it. Then I went to my first ALA.
Yes.
And I was actually...
Your mind went...
It did, and I was actually talking to Kathleen Doherty from TOR.
Yeah.
And I happened to mention this spreadsheet that I keep online. She goes, will you write reviews? I would love to send you some books.
Yes.
And I'm like, you would send me books? And that started the whole thing, that conversation with her.
So how many years ago do you think that was?
So I started the spreadsheet back in 2003.
Wow. So
Talking to her was, 2005. And about 2006, I'm like, I need a better way to do this. And I heard about blogging.
Yeah.
And so that's when I'm like, okay, I'm going to push into this. And so I actually started the Kiss the Book site.
Nice.
Back in 2006 was my first blog post.
Well, and especially now, we need reviews. I mean, teachers and librarians need reviews of books because some of the major review journals aren't reviewing as much as they used to. So you become even more important.
Well, and let's be honest.
Sure.
They don't actually tell you what's in the book.
Not always.
Rarely.
Always. Yeah.
They use code words.
So Kiss the Book is going to tell you what's in the book.
Yeah, one of the things that I found out that was really important that we need to make informed decisions.
Sure. Yeah.
And so we actually tell you what is in the book.
Right. But
we also tell you what we loved about it and why you should champion this book.
Now, if there's a book that is just scary, you don't think it belongs in a school library, you review those too?
Yes. So, yes, we do. We have books that we rate for adults only.
Sure.
And we also have books that we recommend for whatever reasons not have in a school.
Right.
Or in a library.
Right. So you do both, you do the whole range.
We do the quality of the book.
Sure.
We do the interest level of the book.
Right. Important.
And we tell you up front what the content issues may be.
So when do you decide you're going to review a book? You try to review everything, I'm sure, but you got to pick.
We do.
So how do you pick?
How do I pick? That's a great question. So the publishers quite frequently will send me what they call checklists.
Sure.
And say, these books are coming out. Do you want to review any of them? And I will look through those carefully and look for what the topics are, what problems the kids are getting into. Yeah. Does it sound like something I just got recently? But, you know, we do try to read almost everything that comes out.
It's amazing.
We don't succeed because it's
impossible. There's
so
30,000 books.
After the first few years, I managed to get a few people to help me.
Yeah.
But the number of people besides me reviewing books ebbs and flows.
Sure.
And so
nature of things, right?
Right, exactly. And so I used to be able to do a book every single day, personally.
Yeah. Wow.
But I don't do quite that many anymore.
With a full-time job.
With a full-time job. I had little kids at home when I first started.
Yeah.
You know, so that's where sitting down and being able to concentrate and finish a book in a half an hour helps a lot.
For sure. So what kinds of things are you looking for most?
So the first thing I'm looking for is high interest fiction.
Sure.
Because the school library really should be there to entice kids to try out new books to read, to keep them to be lifelong learners.
Right, yes.
The next thing that I look for is nonfiction that will support what's going on in the classrooms.
Great. Certain topics that are especially key right now? Or?
No. In fact, my 8th grade students are doing nonfiction.
Yeah.
They're going to be doing research, and the 9th grade is just about ready to start too. Sure. And so they run the whole gamut.
Okay.
In fact, so every year I put out a survey to the kids asking them what they just read and liked.
Oh, that's interesting.
And what they think they want to read in the future.
Any big surprises in the most recent one? Or things are overarching?
No, strangely enough, they still all love Jennifer Nielsen the most.
Okay, so Jennifer Nielsen.
and it's not because she lives here in Utah, because they don't have any clue where she lives.
Yeah.
Her and Alan Gratz's historical fiction, they absolutely love it.
Okay.
I think the boys want to read about things that they know happened.
Okay.
And the girls read widely. Anyway.
Very eclectic.
Yeah.
Is there
and then there's a lot of fantasy. Brandon Mull is still very popular. Rick Riordan is really popular still.
Of course.
And the big one from the girls is the Selection series. They still love that series.
Wow. Now, who's the author on that?
Selection is Kira Cass.
Yeah. Okay.
I want to, And they always are still talking about it with each other too.
Well, that must make your heart just so happy when you hear them talking about the books.
It does. It does. And it helps me find, like, I'll ask kids who they heard it from. And so if I can find those few...
The ringleaders.
Yes. Then I can maybe say, hey, you liked the Selection. Why don't you try this one?
That's a great tip.
And you can let your friends know about that one.
Do you have a favorite book that you've read this past year that just... You feel you want everybody to read?
I knew you were going to ask me that question, and I did not prepare for that. The one that first comes to mind is just from last year. It's a book called Come Home Safe, which is about a young man who is in a confrontation with the police in the New York subway. Yeah. And it gives his thinking for how is he going to get through this situation.
Right.
And that one for me personally was really powerful to see through that new window.
Yeah.
Into that world.
So, and our kids checking that book out here.
A few.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's important to be able to see other perspectives in other communities.
It is.
So that's a really wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Cindy, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to talk with me. We thank you so much. We thank you for all the good work you and your reviewers do at Kiss the Book. And happy reading.
Well, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.